in the heart of the quiet little village of Meadowbrook, where thatched roofs nestled under a blanket of stars and the scent of wood smoke filled the crisp evening air, lived a rather special cat. His name was Whiskers, a sleek black cat with fur as dark as a moonless night and eyes that shone with the brilliant, mysterious light of emeralds. Tonight, Whiskers wasn't out exploring the cobblestone lanes or chasing mischievous mice in the barn. Instead, he was curled up in his favorite spot in the whole wide world, on the plush, crimson rug before Mrs. Gable's crackling fireplace. The flames danced and leaped, casting flickering shadows that played across his glossy coat, and the warmth soaked deep into his contented, purring body. Mrs. Gable, a kind woman with hair as white as snow and a smile that could warm the coldest winter day, sat in her well-worn rocking chair. She looked down at Whiskers, her eyes twinkling with affection. "Well now, my handsome boy," she said, her voice as soft as the wool she was knitting. "The fire is cozy, the night is quiet. Are you in the mood for a story, Whiskers?" Whiskers blinked his magnificent green eyes slowly, a clear and definite yes in cat language. He let out a soft, inquisitive meow and nudged his head against her outstretched hand. Mrs. Gable chuckled, putting her knitting aside. "I thought you might be. I have just the one for tonight. It's an old classic, a tale of wisdom, hard work, and a very big, very bad wolf. It's the story of the three little pigs." Whiskers settled in, his purr a low rumble of anticipation. The fire popped, sending a shower of golden sparks up the chimney, and Mrs. Gable began, "Once upon a time, in a land not so different from our own Meadowbrook, there lived a mother pig with her three little sons. They had grown so big that their little cottage was bursting at the seams. 'My dears,' she said one morning, 'it is time for you to go out into the world and seek your own fortunes. Build your own houses, but beware. Build them strong, for the big bad wolf roams these woods, and he is always hungry.' So, the three little pigs packed their bags, kissed their mother goodbye, and set off down the road. The first little pig was a rather carefree fellow. He wanted to finish his work quickly so he could spend the rest of the day playing his flute and dancing. He hadn't gone far when he met a man carrying a bundle of straw. "Please, sir," said the pig, "may I have some of that straw to build my house?" The man agreed, and in no time at all, the first little pig had built a lovely little house of straw. He was very proud of himself and started to play his flute without a care in the world. The second little pig was a bit more thoughtful than his brother, but he was also in a hurry to relax and eat apples. Soon he met a man with a cart full of sticks. "Excuse me," he politely asked, "could I please have some of those sticks to build my house?" The man kindly gave him a large bundle, and the second little pig set to work. His house of sticks was a bit sturdier than the straw one, and he finished it before lunchtime. Satisfied, he went inside to enjoy a tasty meal. Now, the third little pig was the wisest of them all. He knew that anything worth doing was worth doing well. He walked past the fields of straw and the piles of sticks, continuing down the road until he saw a man with a wagon loaded with heavy red bricks. "Oh, please, sir," he said, "I want to build a very strong house. May I have some of your bricks?" The man saw the determination in the little pig's eyes and gave him a generous amount. Building with bricks was hard, tiring work. It took the third little pig all day long. While his brothers were playing and eating, he was carefully laying each brick with strong mortar. By sunset, he had a fine, sturdy little house of brick, complete with a strong wooden door and a large fireplace. Mrs. Gable paused, and Whiskers shifted on the rug, his emerald eyes fixed on her face, completely engrossed in the tale. The very next day, she continued, the big bad wolf came trotting down the road. He was feeling particularly peckish. First, he came to the house of straw. He could smell the delicious little pig inside, and his mouth began to water. He knocked on the door and said in a sweet, sing-song voice, little pig, let me come in." But the little pig had seen the wolf's big paws through the keyhole and squeaked, "Not by the hair on my chinny-chin-chin." "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in," roared the wolf. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the straw house all to pieces. The first little pig squealed in terror and ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to his brother's house of sticks. The wolf, licking his lips, followed right behind. He arrived at the house of sticks to find two frightened little pigs hiding inside. Little pigs, let me come in," he called out. "Not by the hair on our chinny-chin-chins," they cried together. "Then I'll huff, and I'll blow your house in," the wolf bellowed. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed. The stick house wobbled and shook, and then it tumbled down in a heap. The two little pigs scrambled from the wreckage and raced toward their brother's house of brick, the wolf snapping at their heels. They burst through the door of the brick house, slamming and bolting it just as the wolf arrived, completely out of breath. All three little pigs huddled together, trembling. The wolf, angrier than ever, knocked on the sturdy door. Little pigs, let me come in," he snarled. "Not by the hair on our chinny-chin-chins," shouted the third little pig bravely. "Then I'll huff, and I'll blow your house in," wolf screamed, angrier than ever. Well, he huffed, and he puffed. He huffed and he puffed, and he huffed and he puffed. His face turned blue, his eyes bulged, but the brick house didn't move an inch. Not a single brick even wiggled. The wolf was exhausted and furious. But he was also cunning. He decided to try and trick the little pig. "Little pig," he said, his voice now sly and friendly, "I know where there is a nice field of turnips." But the wise little pig was too smart for him. He went to the turnip field early the next morning and was back home before the wolf even arrived. The wolf tried again, telling him about a delicious apple tree in Merry Garden. But again the little pig outsmarted him, climbing the tree, grabbing an apple, and rolling it down the hill to distract the wolf while he ran home. The wolf was at his wits' end. He was so angry he could barely see straight. He declared, "I'm coming to get you. I'm going to climb down your chimney." When the third little pig heard this, he didn't panic. He had a clever idea. He quickly put a big pot of water on the fire to boil. Just as the wolf was wriggling his way down the chimney, the little pig took the lid off the pot. With a great big splash, the wolf fell right into the boiling water. He leaped out of the pot with a terrible yelp, shot back up the chimney, and ran away over the hills, never to be seen in that part of the country again. The three little pigs lived happily ever after in the strong little brick house. The first two pigs learned a very valuable lesson that day, that it's always best to do your best work from the very start, and they were all safe and sound thanks to the hard work and cleverness of their wise brother. Mrs. Gable finished her story and looked down. The fire had burned down 2 glowing embers, casting a warm, soft light on the room. Whiskers was no longer just curled up. He was fast asleep, his chest rising and falling in a steady, peaceful rhythm. A tiny twitch of his ear suggested he might be dreaming of brave little pigs and sturdy brick houses. Mrs. Gable smiled, gently stroking his soft fur. "Sleep well, my little storyteller," she whispered. The old grandfather clock in the hall chimed softly, marking the end of another perfect evening in Meadowbrook. Thank you so much for joining us for this cozy tale tonight. If you enjoyed spending time with Mrs. Gable and Whiskers, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories. We love sharing these moments with you. Sweet dreams, and we'll see you next time.